All righty. What is happening, people? What is happening? How you doing? How you feeling? Let me know who I'm hanging out with here on a Sunday night where you guys are. It's a Monday morning where we are. Hopefully you are having a fantastic into your weekend. You've done something fun. Batteries are all recharged and you're ready to head into your week with some purpose. Ready to get some stuff done. Combine week. Woo! It's going to be a good week. But thanks for joining us. Do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that like button as the stream is starting. I am going to be looking at some of your Dynasty rosters today and helping you make some decisions on what direction you should be going, where you stand in the landscape of your league, maybe some deals that are out there. Maybe we'll talk about how you should utilize your draft picks, all that and more on today's stream. So thanks for joining me. Simon says, let's go. Finally making it out to a stream. You love to see it. Or is that Sim Cooks? Sorry. What's up, Peyton? Welcome in. Waffle Boy was Gucci. Derek, salute. Skylar says, in a one quarterback, if you're contending, would you send Hall for the 101? Depends on what you need, man. Depends on what you need. We'll try and do a Q&A at the end, guys. But that just depends on what you need there. Breece Hall or Marvin. I mean, I think most people would say Marvin there, but what's up, Terrence? Lucas says, made it to the start of a live. Yes, we are getting things popping. But like I said earlier, we are going to help some people with their Dynasty teams, point them in the right direction, and all that goodness. But the first team we are looking at today is from Simon. And if Simon's in the chat, please let me know. Just say, hey, this is my team. We're going to look at it regardless, but if you're in the chat, that would be awesome to chat with you. But obviously, if he's not, then that is totally okay as well. But if you guys want your teams reviewed by yours truly, very, very simple. I know we had some signups over the weekend, which is awesome. We look forward to grading your guys' teams throughout the week here this week. But I'll put a direct link in the chat. Again, if you want your team reviewed by yours truly, become a Motherflocker member with the promo code LAND. Once you have done that, I would advise doing the instant access instead of the 7-day free trial, because if you do the trial, that's fine. You just got to wait for your team to be eligible for a roster submission, if that makes sense. But once you have signed up with our code LAND to the Motherflocker tier, you go up to the top right, you link your account, which is where you would link your Discord, and then you should be able to access all of Fantasyland's premium Discord channels, including the roster submissions channel like Simon has done here. But do me a favor, guys, go ahead and hit that like button as the stream starts just to show some love. But without further ado, I honestly hate it when people say that, without further ado. I don't know why. It just sounds so lame, and then I say it all the time. I'm like, damn, all right, well, you know. Skylar says, when do we get some Big Badaki back? Big Bad Daddy back. He'll be back tomorrow, I believe. We talked about that last night. But yeah, the baby's doing well. Ellen's doing well. I think he'll be back tomorrow. So that'll be good to have him on tomorrow's rookie draft stream. What's up, Reed? Welcome in, Mreedson. But all right, let's get to this team for Simon. Again, it's a 12-team SuperFlex PPR, half tight end premium, and there's a 0.2 points per carry. So if you think about that, guys, let's say Derrick Henry gets 25 carries in a game, that would be 5 extra points. Quick maths, right off the top of the dome. We've got a SuperFlex league, but it's 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end, and then 5 flex spots. 5 flex spots. I mean, I can already say in this type of format, I would want 7 wide receivers I love and maybe 2 running backs I like. If I know I only have to start 1, that changes a lot for me personally. Team name is Shorzy. This league has been around for about 7 years. You love to see it. Hey, a group of dedicated Dynasty players through the ups and the downs. That's rare. I love to see it. I was competing through the first 3, and after 2 bad years of injuries and veterans aging out, I decided to fully commit to the rebuild. This year concluded with the 2nd year of the rebuild. I have the 101, 102, 106, 201, 401 in all my future picks. I'm not sure if I'm ready to compete this year, so let me know what you think. I definitely want to take Marvin, but I don't know if I trade out of the 102 or take a quarterback. I don't know if I need a quarterback that bad. Let me know what you think of that. I also want to pass on quarterback and take whichever quarterback is at 6. I think the 104 or 105 will take quarterback, but I think the 103 will pass. Okay. Okay, cool. That is good to know, Simon. League's been around a while. You got some equity with all these players. It's a super flex league. You only have to start one running back. We got 5 flex spots. You have a good amount of draft capital, and you're trying to pretty much figure out if you're ready to rebuild at this or to compete or not at this point. Now, you said your team name is Shorzy. That means Keep Trade Cut has you ranked 3rd, and you are an 89 out of 100 in this league. Roy Kent, unfortunately, the eldest boy, is struggling. My guy Roy is struggling. But thank God we're not there, right? Here we are at team 3. Okay. So, let's have a look at the squad. We've got A-Rich, we've got Trevor, we've got Mac, and no names. At running back, we have JT and Achan. I'll be honest with you, dude. In this format, that is more than enough for me for multiple years. 2, 3, 4, maybe depending on how long these guys last. You can add a couple here and there. But the fact that you have to start one, you only have to start one of them, that is undoubtedly not a need by far. At wide receiver, we have Jefferson, Higgins, Hollywood, Demario Douglas, Elijah Moore, Trey Tucker. So clearly, the wide receiver room is a weakness when you consider that you can start 6 wide receivers in this format. You can start 6 of them, and right now we really only have 2 that we love, 3 that we can start. You know, Pop could potentially take the next step in his 2nd year, but he's also not a play. He's like that player that, you know, you got in your taxi squad, or you've, you know, just got on the bench, and if something were to happen to him and he were to take a step up, then that would be great. But also, you're not banking on him being a pivotal part of your team moving forward. At tight end, we really don't have a clear answer, I would say. And this is a tight end premium league, 0.5 tight end premium league. So that's definitely something that we could look at addressing. But we've got some good capital here. Are you ready to compete this year? If things go your way, I don't see why you wouldn't be competing this year, to be honest with you. So, I know Styles probably isn't here with us, but some of y'all know what we're about to do. Let's bring out the whiteboard, shall we? Let's bring out the whiteboard. And let's look at these picks that we've got here. Love that you haven't gotten rid of any of your future picks, by the way. That is great to see, especially if you are a team that is trying to rebuild. That's ideally the place you want to be. We got our 26 and our 25 first, as well as our 2nds and 3rds. Great. That's exactly where I would want you to be as far as having those picks. It's going to give you a little bit more flexibility as your, honestly, I think your team is going to come to you, and you'll decide based off of how your team is performing if you're ready to compete this year or not. So that's going to be a fun place to be. But all right, at the 101 and the 102, you talked about how you weren't sure if you really wanted to take a quarterback with one of these picks. I have no issue with trading down, but I also think if you stay put, then quarterback is going to be the most valuable player on the board. And in your position, I don't think you are so deep where, you have 2 great players. I feel great about A-Rich and Trevor, but not to the point where, I wouldn't take Caleb. And also, QB3 is more important in SuperFlex than people realize. It really is, especially after what happened last year. Simon says, I'm here. I'm glad I made it. Hey, that's awesome. We're glad you're here as well. Feel free at any moment to chime in if you want to ask a question or if you have any clarity on some of the things that I'm saying. But we've got a good amount of capital here. So let's say scenario 1, let's make this very simple. We just stick and pick. All right. Make it very simple. We stick and pick. You talked about a quarterback at the 106. I'm curious. I would say it's not consensus that one of those top 3 guys are available at the 106 right now in SuperFlex drafts. And it sounded like you believe that it will be. You're saying you believe there will be a May, a Daniels at the 106. Does that mean that you think that Brock Bowers is going top 5 or a Dunze? But I don't... It certainly isn't like consensus at this point from what I've seen. But I would say you can go Bowers or Roma Dunze here. Or a quarterback if you really think quarterback's going to be available. Let's just say we're sticking and picking here. And then at the 201, you've got a lot of options. I mean, how far does Ladd McConkey fall down people's boards? You've also got your Xavier Worthies of the world. These are all wide receivers that could drastically help your team right now. Adonai Mitchell. Right, this is the kind of range we're talking about here. If Keon Coleman goes in the first round, right? Simon says, I think there's a good chance that a quarterback is at 6 because the guy at 3 doesn't like drafting quarterbacks. I hear you there, but so he would probably just take Neighbors then, right? Which, you know, if you think about that, right? So if Neighbors goes at 3, are you saying 4 and 5 won't go May Daniels? That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. Who has those picks as well? Nick Miller. That's great. Unless, that could actually be the guy's name. The guy at the 103 has Lamar, Dak, Bryce. So, I mean, he could skip on the position. And look at that wide receiver room. So, yeah, I mean, there is a less... Look, there's like a 90% chance this guy's going Malik Neighbors at the 103. If things pan out. So that's something that looks very possible at this point. Who has the 104 and the 105? The 104, I mean, this guy can't afford to not take a quarterback. So you got to imagine May or Daniels has gone there. And then at the 105, same for this guy. I couldn't see him passing on quarterback if these guys go, you know, top 10 like we think they all will. So I would say, unless you know something I don't, which it's your league, right? Let me know, Simon. Simon says WG. Yeah, Simon says. But let me know what you believe based off of the intel you've gotten from your league, what the top, you know, 6 will look like. But I would say I'd be surprised if a quarterback is there at 6. Obviously, if you knew one of them would be there, you could go like Marvin there. Simon says, yeah, I guess they won't make it there. He said he won't draft the quarterback because of how it went with Young. Yeah, I mean, he just hit on the wrong name. I mean, imagine he went Stroud. That's a bit silly. But hey, if that's the way he's going to operate, then that's more quarterbacks for us in a SuperFlex format. And this is 12-team, right? I mean, yeah. Dude, imagine you got Mayer Daniels at the 106 in a SuperFlex. But okay, it is tight end premium, and you have no clear answers at tight end with your team. So I'm not going to sit here and lock in Brock Bowers at the 106, but I think this is how I would personally be playing it if you were to stick and pick. Okay? So we've got Marvin at the 101, Caleb at the 102, then Brock or Adunze at the 106. Both are areas of need for you. Unless Brock Bowers is like a top 10 pick and he goes to a situation where you can see him producing straight away, then I might lean towards an Adunze, assuming that he is top 5. Let's say he goes to New York or something, for example. And then we can potentially look at trading for a tight end. But at the 201, the great news is that there should be a wide receiver that's very valuable. We keep saying it, that the strength of this class is not running back, and that is perfect for you. Because, again, you do not need a running back in a league that starts one running back. You've got, I'm not going to say in excess, but you are very well covered at that position. So all of a sudden, if we go scenario 1, your team now looks like a little bit like this. You've got Caleb Williams, Anthony Richardson, Trevor Lawrence. A great group of 3 to build around. Let's say Anthony doesn't develop the way that we want him to, or Trevor doesn't take a next step. Great. You've got Caleb there. You're fine. And in a 12-team Superflex, I want 3 quarterbacks I like anyway. I really do. At wide receiver, we're fine at running back, right? At wide receiver, let's actually see what our starting lineup would look like. 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 1, 1, 1, 1, and 5 flexes. So it'd be A-Rich and Trevor, or A-Rich and Caleb. It'd be Jonathan Taylor. It'd be Jefferson, Higgins, Hollywood. It would also be Marvin Harrison Jr. That's 4. And your 5th could be Achane for now. That's a fine starting lineup. And then at tight end, we've either got Brock Bowers or we added Adunze, and now Hollywood Brown's on the bench. So either way, I think scenario 1 is a great option for you. And also, you could totally compete if some of those rookies hit. I mean, if Bowers starts producing straight away, if Adunze or a Marvin start producing straight away, there's no reason as to why you can't compete. Now, this is also a team that I would feel very comfortable moving down from the 101 or the 102 as well. You talked about that as an option. If I can move, let's say you want to control the draft at the 101 and you just want to grab Marvin in this league, then that's fine. Can we move back from the 102 to the 103, the 104, the 105 and get a future 2025 first? That would be absolutely ideal. I think you're in a position where if you miss out on Caleb, okay, so Drake May's there, Jaden Daniels is there, and you get a future first, or now you're in a position where you actually take Malik Neighbors because those quarterbacks are no longer available, and you get a future first. I think all those are well within the realm of possibilities. But of course, not something that I think you necessarily need to do. I think you have good picks in a good class, and there's nothing wrong with just sticking and picking either. But like I said, if we can turn the 102, trade it into the 103, 104, 105, plus a 2025 first, or a valuable player, think about tight end here, maybe. What sort of tight end could you get to move back to one of those names? Could you get a Mark Andrews in a deal like that? He's getting a little bit disrespected right now in the industry. You probably couldn't get a Sam Laporta. But obviously, you could try that deal. Trey McBride. I wouldn't even mind grabbing like a Kincaid or a Pitts and moving back to the 103, for example. Moving back like one spot. What does the 103 have right now? And again, these are all just options. It doesn't mean that it's going to work out, right? These are just ideas. Hopefully it sparks ideas in your mind of deals that you could go out and ask for. The 103. I doubt he's going to give you DJ Moore because looking at his wide receiver room. So I don't feel like there's a deal out there with the 103 unless they want to give you a future first. The 103 could be a little more difficult to trade with. The 104. Same thing. Look at how weak his wide receiver room is. There's no way he's going to be interested in moving Drake London. And you don't need running backs. You just don't. And he has no tight ends to speak of. Who's at the 105? Again, not a team that really makes sense to trade back with. And I want to stay in that top 5 personally. So yeah, I'll be honest, looking at the teams who have the 103, 104, 105, to me, they don't really look like good trade partners because none of them have wide receivers that we'd be willing to trade back for. Well, some of them do, but I doubt there's no way this guy's going to give you Drake London in the 104 for the 102, for example, right? Of course, you can try that. I just doubt that's going to happen. Same with DJ Moore. So these don't feel like great trade candidates. What happened to my boy Roy Kent, man? This boy has Jonnu Smith and no picks in the first 2 rounds of this draft. What did you guys do to Roy Kent, the eldest boy? So is someone must be hogging tight ends in this league, dude. Who is hogging all the tight ends? Sir Brendan has McBride and Pitts. Who's got all the tight ends? Yeah. Okay, yep. Team 1. Team 1 has Sam Laporta, TJ Hawkinson, Dalton Kincaid, Mark Andrews, Jake Ferguson. That's actually comedy. That is genuinely hilarious. I wonder if he would view Laporta as like expendable, or even a Mark Andrews as expendable. Like, I know we want to stay in that top 6, but if I can get that 109 in Mark Andrews, it's probably going to be more difficult with Laporta. But this guy has a surplus. He has a surplus. I know it's a tight end premium league, but it's only a half tight end premium. It's not like a full point or anything. I wonder if we can get our hands on Mark Andrews. So in your league, you do have a tight end premium. You've got a SuperFlex. It is 12 team. You've got 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end, and you have 5 flex spots. Look at that, and we can customize it exactly to what your team is. But we want Mark Andrews, and we want the 109, and I will give you the 106. We probably have to add in something to make that deal happen. Or honestly, you know what you could try instead? How open do you think this guy would be to like a Sam Laporta for the 10? Okay, let's just stay on track here. We're talking about options, okay? This sort of structure is an option. And let me try and hide this so you can see what I'm cooking up here. All right, this sort of structure here is an option. You send away the 106, you get Mark Andrews in the 109. Now, keep in mind, you might have to add like a third or a player that you're not in love with, someone, you know, down the list on your depth chart. I like that kind of deal. Now, if that deal isn't possible, I don't really like losing the 106 altogether and not getting a pick in return. But could we make this like a Laporta and a Dell? And then we could also offer up our 201, for example. We don't have, let's just put early second here. Right? Is something like this another route that you could take? Those are 2 deals that I would feel super comfortable making with your team. I think they benefit you in a big way. And the great thing for you is like you're approaching this team and saying, dude, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tight ends that you can start. You don't want to cash these in for different value somewhere else. You know, you don't want to cash these in and get a more valuable draft pick to trade for a running back. I mean, I respect the strategy, but also I'm pretty certain this guy is looking at his team thinking, how can I make this a more balanced roster? I could be wrong, but that's what I would be thinking if I had this team as well. So I think those are 2 deals that I really, really like, given your situation and given the assets that this team has. Hey, he wants to hold on to Tank Dell. We'll make it Pittman or Waddle. We're not going Diggs. We're not going Diggs here. Make it Pittman or Waddle. I don't care. I feel like there's more equity. Equity is the wrong word. I feel like there's more hype around the Pittman and Waddle names, though. That's a deal that I love for this team. But overall, you're in a good spot. Like, let's say we do stick with scenario 1. I mean, we have a very good team still. And I'm not going to say you're ahead of schedule, but you're right there as a contender pretty much in 2024. Because you got to keep in mind the 201, even if you go Caleb Williams at the 102, you can grab a Dunze or Bowers here, and then a very valuable wide receiver at the 201. This class is so deep. Consider the 201 as valuable as the 109 last year in SuperFlex drafts, where your Zay Flowers of the world were going, your Jordan Addisons, your Dalton Kincaids. That's how deep this class is. I think you should feel great about this team. Like I said, in scenario 1, You'll have A-Rich and Caleb, A-Rich or Trevor starting for you, Jonathan Taylor. Then at your 5 flex spots, or your wide receiver will be Justin Jefferson. At your 5 flex spots, you'll have Marvin, T, Hollywood, Achane, and then Adunze or Bowers. And then at tight end, we'll go Bowers or Pat, whoever you have at that moment. And keep in mind, we'll also throw in a Lab McConkey, and Xavier Worthy, and Adonai Mitchell, Keon Coleman into one of those flex spots as well. So you'll be looking pretty. Now look, you won't have the depth at wide receiver yet, but you will be looking a much stronger team. And if you were to do some of these trades where we talked about, the Sam Laporta and Tank Dell for the 106 in your early second, I mean, that gives you depth at wide receiver, and it gives you a solidified tight end. We talked about going out and getting Mark Andrews. So in the 109, all of a sudden you got a solidified tight end, and at the 109 you can pick a wide receiver and improve your depth. So you got a lot of wiggle room here. And I don't know, there are some people who consider this a strategy, like they just pile up on tight ends in a tight end premium format. But at the same time, you also put yourself in a box where it's like, okay, now you have to trade with the people who know that you have all these tight ends that you can't start. I mean, you could, but even in a half tight end premium, you're not starting some of these guys over the wide receivers he's got. So in a way, he's almost put himself in a difficult position, even though it was probably a strategy. Simon says no idea how he feels about the tight ends. Haven't approached him about them. So that could definitely be something that you could approach him about for sure. I can't imagine having 5 starting tight ends. Yeah, absolutely crazy. I mean, even in a tight end premium, that's kind of wild. But Simon, I want you to feel like, you're good. I want you to feel like confident. So let me know if you have any questions. If there was any questions that I didn't answer that you did want answered, let me know. This is your time to shine. I'll take a drink of water here. Yes, Matty Lowe. Yeah, we DM'd you. Your trial should end in the next couple of days. So we'll definitely be looking at your team this week 100%. 100%. Simon says, I don't have any questions. Thank you for the help. I appreciate it, of course. And as always, Simon, you've got your fantasy hotline, which is available to you. So feel free, if you have any questions, to hit us up over there. But we do appreciate the support big time from you. And it's a fun team, man. You're in a great spot. You're in a great spot. You're kind of playing with house money. We talked about this last week. You're a team that might not have expectations to win year one, but you're playing with house money. You don't need to win year one. But all right, guys, we're going to move on to the next team. But if you're watching this and you want your team reviewed by yours truly, the process is oh so simple. All you need to do is become a Mother Flocker member using the promo code LAND. Excuse me. Have to use that promo code LAND in order to get our benefits, our perks, if you will. Once you have signed up with that promo code to the Mother Flocker tier, go to account at the top right, link your Discord, and then you should get instant access to all of our premium channels, including the roster submissions tab. So keep that in mind. And the last thing I'll say is there is an option to skip the free trial. It's called instant access. I would suggest doing that so you don't have to wait for your team to be reviewed any longer than anyone else. All right, the next team we're looking at is Mr. Mreedson. Do we have Mr. Mreedson in the chat? Let me know if you're here with us. That's kind of a fun format from Simon's team, isn't it? You're starting 2, 3, 4, 5. You're starting 9. It's a start 9, but so much flexibility. All right, Mreedson is here. You'll love to see it. Guys, normally on streams I would be answering, people's questions in the chat, but I might do a Q&A at the end, but today's stream, we're mainly just helping people who are supporting us over on the channel. Hopefully y'all can understand. Don't want anyone to feel like we're ignoring them, but we also are trying to get through people's teams and help them out as well. But do me a favor, guys, hit that like button to show some love. We will get to Mr. Mreedson's team here, and we will have a little geese, and we will see what he is cooking with. All right. Start 8, 1 quarterback, PPR, no tight end premium. Start 8, 1 quarterback, PPR, no tight end premium. Will be SuperFlex next year. We'll replace the additional flex spot that was added this offseason. I love when people swap SuperFlex, but I also feel like they should expand their roster. You know, like don't take away a flex for the SuperFlex, but at least you guys are going to SuperFlex. I mean, that's cool. So it'll still be start 8, but start 8 SuperFlex. I mean, that's a small starting roster if you think about it. Start 8 SuperFlex. That's 2 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, and 1 flex. Right? 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah. You want to get at least 2 flexes in there. Team name is Island of Roster Moreau. I believe I can compete this year. I'm not sure if you can see the trades that I have completed, but I added replies to this thread with pictures of the trades completed. We'll have a look at that. He says, I have acquired CD, JT Jason, and some 25 firsts and seconds in the offseason. I also have traded away Ayuk, Hawkinson, Montgomery, Waddle, Komet, Freiermuth. I have the 101, 103, 106, 201, and very late rounds. I don't think my league will be drafting like a Superflex league, but I may be wrong. The person at the 105 said Caleb should not be taken in the top 5. Oh, that's silly season. Which, that will be awesome for you if that's the case. Hence why I was thinking of grabbing a quarterback at the 106, 102, or 104 might go quarterback, but not 100% sure. 104 only has 1 quarterback and no backup. The 102 would most likely take Neighbors, so I would have the choice between Bowers or Dunze at the 103. I also have the 106, which I'm thinking quarterback there. Thinking about trading the 201 to get another first round next year. I also have 2 firsts and 2 seconds and 25, including my own next year. Next year will be only 5 rounds instead of 10. You guys have a 10-round rookie draft? Is that right? Who are you guys drafting at the round 5? Round 4? Holy. A 10-round rookie draft. How many teams? I'm just wondering if I'm going in the right direction or if there are some moves I should be making instead. I would appreciate the recommendation. Thank you for all your help and keep up the great work. I'm still trying to get past 10-round rookie draft. It's a 10-man league. Damn. I mean, let's do. You're telling me 100 players are drafted? You guys have 100 players drafted every year. That is, I mean, hey, props to you guys. Props to you guys. But my question is, I would actually really love to see your rookie draft last year. Can you send me a link to your rookie draft? I know that's like a weird request, but you could actually pop the link straight in this roster submissions tab. Just for the sake of like seeing it. I would love to see that draft, what last year's draft looked like. So Mreedson, if you could do that, I'm pretty sure what you can do is you can go into Sleeper and then you can do this on desktop or mobile, but you go to previous, isn't it previous? Maybe it is on desktop or on mobile. That's the easiest to do it. I don't think it's previous league. I'm pretty sure on mobile you can do it. Oh, so this is your first, you're saying this is your first year doing the startup draft. Let me know if I'm reading that correctly. There's a draft history button on mobile. Okay, right. So Mreedson, correct me if I'm wrong. You're saying this is your first year you guys will be doing a rookie draft. Okay, first time doing a rookie draft, and you guys are going 10 rounds deep. I just want to see what the names are, even like even 60 deep. because that's, I mean, that is super interesting. You guys are going to get so bored after round 4. I mean, you guys are going to be drafting. I don't actually I genuinely don't think there are 100 names in Sleeper's rookie ADP, by the way. I do not think there's 100 names in there. Maybe there is. Anyway, we're wasting time. My bad. All right, the good news is you are ranked 99 out of 100, my friend, and there is not even a team in your league that is in the 80s. And let me just say this, like, first thing I will say to you, any of your picks that are from round 5 onwards, I would trade all of them for a second round pick. Because this tells me people might not know what the value of these picks are. Right? It's almost like when you get in your first Devy League and people are like, what are those picks worth? You know? What are those picks worth? I mean, I would package all of them and even your thirds. Let's package all of your picks there, you know, and your thirds, or even a second for a first. A first in 2024 or 2025. Like, the reason I'm even suggesting any of these is because it sounds like your league is relatively new to Dynasty if they're doing a 10-round rookie draft, right? Which means there is room to exploit that. It sounds bad. Like, exploit's the wrong word, but it really, I mean, you are. Exploit the lack of knowledge in Dynasty, maybe. Right? So, Mreedson says, that's why I got rid of all those later picks. It'll be auto picks. Second next year. Yeah, like, honestly, at any point, I would be willing to trade any amount of those picks. Again, hey, I'll give you the 301, the 308, all of my 4th and 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th and 9th and 10th round picks for a first next year. And someone could say, how could I say no to that? You know, like, I'm just, you know, thinking out loud here. I would trade all those picks, like I said, for a second. Obviously, I would even consider doing, like, multiple thirds. Because at the end of the day, man, like, typically in your 4th round, you're starting to look at a lot of practice squad guys, you know, 3rd or 4th on the depth chart. Into the 5th round, for sure, a lot of practice squad. 6th round, 100% practice squad guys. You might have one player in the 6th round this year that is actually on, you know, a contributing NFL roster. In the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th rounds, these guys probably are working at McDonald's in 2024, right? Is that rude to say? I don't know. It's just the reality. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. And let's see what capital you have. So you've got those first, which is great. You have the 201. So yeah, you have the 501, the 601, the 801, the 901, the 1001. My man, and honestly, dude, before people realize, all of these picks, every single one of these picks, I'm not exaggerating when I say this, these mean absolutely nothing to me. Absolutely nothing. What can you trade these picks for? Right? Can all of these picks get you a future first? Then that would be the deal of a century. And you'll be robbing people blind. They won't even know it. Well, they'll know it, but it'll take a year or so. So, Mreedson says, we're going 5 rounds next year after the team meeting, so no thirds this year. No thirds this year. Okay. So you're saying all these picks in 2026 and 2025 won't even be there anyway, but it sounds like all these picks are available. I would say the same thing. If you can turn any of those into a future first or a second, then you do that in a heartbeat. I have no doubt in telling you to do that. Genuinely. It's just not going to matter. If you're doing a slow draft, people are literally going to be guessing. They'll just let the sleeper, take whoever they want for them. But anyway, that's the first thing. But you are ranked 99 out of 100. Like we mentioned, you're the only team who's even in the 80s, above the 80s. You are moving to a SuperFlex league in 2025. And that means we're drafting as if it's a SuperFlex league this year. And I know you said that your league is probably not going to draft like it is SuperFlex, but that will not impact the way that we see best player available. Do you know what I mean? Who's the guy that had the 105? You said there was someone the person at the 105 said Caleb shouldn't be taken in the top 5. Hey, you know what, Mreedson? That's exactly what I would be saying if I had the 105. And I knew we were about to be a SuperFlex league. Those are the exact words I would use. I don't trust a single thing that's coming out of that man's mouth. He could be your best friend. I don't care. I do not care. I mean, honestly, that's exactly what I would be saying to someone if I had the 105. So unless he's actually cheeks at Dynasty, I think he could legitimately just be playing with you. I really wholeheartedly believe that. Okay. Oh yeah. Let me guess. Did he put that in the sleeper chat? Like, oh yeah. Okay. So that still doesn't mean Caleb's in the top 5. Yeah. Sure, buddy. Sure. So you're telling me if everyone's drafting one quarterback at the 105, you're going to choose between Brian Thomas and Caleb Williams? Stop it. You're lying to yourself, kid. That's what you tell him, right? You can send him the time code. Tell him to come fight me on the block. Who am I? Like, I'm just some freaking 5'8" white kid going out on the block. Like, calm down, bro. Mreedson says he was trying to get the 101 for me. We did get a super chat from Master Nader. Says at the 903, Badaki could get drafted. Yes. Start drafting your favorite Dynasty analyst. That's incredible. Okay, let's talk this through. This is absolutely whiteboard season for you. Let's really only include these picks. We're not even going to talk about the 501. It's disrespectful to Dynasty to even discuss the 501. Okay? All right. So let's see what we're working with here. I love that you have a future first from Bearded Papa. Who is Bearded Papa in your league, by the way? Let's have a geese, shall we? He's team number 5. He's got a solid squad. But yeah, we want to keep that pick, obviously. That pick can only gain value at this point. So we'll definitely have a look at these picks, and we'll see what's best to do with them. But in my opinion, dude, we're drafting as if it's a SuperFlex league. I don't care if they're telling me that they think Caleb Williams shouldn't go in the top 5. If they do any ounce of research on their own, they will change that opinion by the time you're actually drafting in your league. I just don't buy it. I simply do not buy it. All right, so let's look at the team before we even break this down. You got A-Rich and Justin Fields. That's a great 1-2 punch. Of course, you would want Fields to you would want him to be your quarterback 3 unless you're really competing right away, because we just don't know what the future looks like for him. I'm not saying he won't be a starter long term, but obviously there are question marks, right? How many times has a first-round quarterback been traded to a different team and then got a long-term deal for, a lot of security? It's not happened very often. At running back, we have JT, Rashad White, Stevenson. That is more than enough for me at this point of the offseason to be completely fine. And remember, it's a start 8. So I'm assuming it's what we talked about earlier. Two quarterbacks next year. Right now, just add another flex for this year. 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex. And then just an extra flex without the super flex. At wide receiver, you have CD, Amon-Ra, Nico, T. Higgins, JSN. I mean, look, there is no fluff here. It's just straight studs. And that's great. And then at tight end, we have Sam Laporta. This is great. This is a very, very good foundation for you to work off of. I don't think there's a tight end premium. Yes, there isn't. So for me, that would rule out Brock Bowers at the 106. Personally. But let's think this through. So you have the 101. Let's actually put action to those words that your league is saying. We'll go Marvin Harrison here at the 101. This is what I think we do. What happens at the 102? Okay. Are they talking the talk? Or do they actually go Caleb Williams at the 102? Right? Because right now, again, I'm not buying anything my league is telling me. But for me, if it's Caleb there at the 103, that's great. I don't care if people in your league are telling you you don't draft that guy in the top 5. You're going to be a super flex league next year. And think about it from this perspective, okay? Let's look at it this way. CJ Stroud last year was the 105 in Superflex consensus rookie drafts. What is CJ Stroud worth today? CJ Stroud, 1 year removed, is the 4th most valuable asset in Dynasty in some people's eyes. Look, this is my issue with keep trade cut, because sometimes, like, really, you're telling me people are taking Justin Jefferson over these quarterbacks? I love Justin Jefferson, but that seems unrealistic in a startup. We don't ever see that in startups. CJ Stroud is most people's 3rd most valuable asset in all of Dynasty football. Imagine if last year you were like, no, I got to take JSN because my league is telling me that I shouldn't take Caleb this early, or I shouldn't take CJ this early, right? You would have made that mistake last year. Let's not replicate that mistake. I know it's like it didn't actually happen, but you hear where I'm coming from? Like, take the most valuable player, and the most valuable player is going to be Caleb Williams. It sounds like people are smokescreen season in your league. Hey, laugh at me all you want if I take Caleb Williams at the 103. That's fine. And by the way, if Drake May, if Jaden Daniels are available here, I do not care. I will draft those 2 players. And I will go into this year with my team having Caleb Williams, Anthony Richardson, Justin Fields, and Drake May or Jaden Daniels. I do not care, because guess what? Next year, when your league goes to becoming a super flex league, and this guy who's telling you he's not going to draft a quarterback has 1 quarterback in CJ Stroud. Team 4, who has no picks this year, by the way, has Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield. Great. That works for us. This team is probably in the clear. But Team 6 has Brock Purdy, Bryce Young. Great. I'm going to take your entire future away from you for a quarterback on my team. Team 9, who has no picks this year at all, inside the top 15. Only has Patrick Mahomes. Great. You're about to give me your entire future as well. Right? I mean, there's no scenario in which you do not take the best player available and you operate as a Superflex league. And in a Superflex league, those quarterbacks, if they are going to fall, will be the best players available. Point blank, period. Right? That's how we operate, in my personal opinion. Now, at the 201, this is going to go even crazier. But let's say J.J. McCarthy goes in the 1st round. I do not care. I do not care. We will go J.J. McCarthy. Okay, obviously we don't have to. We can go whatever the best wide receiver is there. You know, is it a McConkey? We talked about this on different strings. Is it a Worthy? Is it a Mitchell? We can even look at like the Bensons and the Brooks at that spot too. You don't necessarily need to add to your running back room, but you certainly could. And keep in mind that this is a start 8, and it's going to remain a start 8. So right now, this year, you are starting Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor, Rachaad White. That's 3. You're also going to be starting Marvin Harrison Jr. That's 4. CeeDee Lamb is 5. Amon-Ra is 6. Nico Collins is 7. And Sam Laporta is 8. You already have a team this year to compete. So, yeah. I think you're in a position where you don't really need to force a wide receiver in here. Now, of course, look, if your league switches it up and somehow like Malik Neighbors is available at the 106, absolutely take it. No doubt about it. But let's play the other scenario. And this I don't really like this scenario at all. I'm just going to call this unrealistic. Because I do not believe the words that are coming out of your league mate's mouth. I'm just going to be honest with you. Okay? So let's say they are going to draft. Okay, no, guys. We're drafting as a 1-quarterback league, even though next year it's SuperFlex, right? We're all on the same page, right? That's what's happening. Okay? So that would mean that the 102 is probably going to be Malik Neighbors. I mean, at the 103, are you going to go Rome Odunze here? I just feel so confidently that the next 2 picks would be Caleb Williams and then another quarterback. And then another quarterback. I feel so confidently it would be 3 quarterbacks in a row. It's not even a tight end premium league. Why would someone force Brock Bowers in there? I don't know. Maybe they would, but... Sorry, that Caleb Williams is another quarterback. So you'd be stuck at the 106. And, you know, to be fair, you could totally go whatever quarterback is available. So that is an option for you too. But like I mentioned, I just don't think that's realistic. I don't think people will actually do that. And, you know, think about it from the perspective of like Justin Jefferson. Oh no, not Justin Jefferson. Puka Nacua. Where is Puka? Here. Puka Nacua, I know he wasn't a first-round pick, but he literally just broke all records that have stood for a long time. I mean, obviously you had Jefferson come break them and Chase and everything, but in the 100-plus years of NFL football, no one has had a rookie year like Puka Nacua. And this is a SuperFlex format because he's not a quarterback. Right now, he's not ranked inside the top 12 of most people's rankings, right? And obviously people are, you know, there's a narrative about Matthew Stafford and what happens after him, right? But even when Justin Jefferson went out and had his rookie season, he was not ranked as a top 3 asset in SuperFlex like CJ Stroud is. If you hit on a quarterback in a SuperFlex league, people will pay you their entire future. They will give you their children for that quarterback. So ultimately, the most value for you is taking the best player available and assuming that it is a SuperFlex format. And that's my personal opinion, and I'm sticking to it. But in a start 8 SuperFlex league, I'd also be super open to like packaging a Rachaad White in the 106 and going out and getting one of those Bijan Robinsons. You know, a Bijan, a Jahmyr Gibbs, for example. I would have no issues doing that either. Because again, we're only in a start 8. We have depth in most areas already. You can trade for a cheap tight end too, right? But assuming that health is going to be there, I would be super comfortable doing that in this sort of smaller format. Because again, remember, we are in a start 8. Right now, you're telling me that people are acting like it's not SuperFlex. I don't buy it. I could be wrong. Is this a 10-man league? I'm trying to remember. 10-man league, yeah. And mreedson, let me know if you have any questions or comments as I'm going through this. I'd love to answer any of those. But right now we're in a start 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is really what we're looking at. Okay, so in that league, yeah, give me Bijan. I'll give you the 106, and I'll give you Rachaad White. I have no problem doing this. Absolutely no problem. You still have Ramondre Stevenson as your RB3, but now you've got Jonathan Taylor and Bijan Robinson. I would do that same trade for Jahmyr Gibbs as well. Right? No problem doing that trade at all in my mind. Now, you have to get clarity from your league, though. Do they have zero intention on expanding the starting roster? Because if there's even a conversation around like, hey, like we might want to go to like a start 9 or a start 10, you know, you approach this differently. But if you feel like everyone's hunkered down and they're like, no, we are a start 8, even with SuperFlex, these are the kind of deals you're trying to go out and get then. You're trying to get the absolutely best starting roster you possibly can. And yeah, you're in a great spot because you're probably going to compete this year. When you look at your starting lineup, we already talked about it. A-Rich, JT, Rachaad White, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra. That's 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, you're one of the best teams already, and you haven't even added capital here. Mreedson says the team that has Robinson and Breece is unwilling to trade them. I wouldn't either. So if you can do that deal for Jahmyr Gibbs, 100% I'd do that. I'd have no problems doing that at all. But yeah, ultimately you just want, you know, heavy starting rosters. I mean, if I could package like T. Higgins and the 106, what could that get me in your league? And again, guys, we don't dislike T. Higgins. We're trying to exploit this format. I mean, let's look at what even keep trade cuts consensus wide receivers are here. I mean, could that get me an A.J. Brown? In some leagues, I think it could. I don't know about yours, but yeah, it could definitely get you an A.J. Brown. And you could probably aim even higher. How about Garrett Wilson or Amon-Ra? Are those guys acquirable in your league? I mean, if you can do this, you do that all day, easy. I don't even think about it, right? Mreedson says I didn't want too many Lions on my team. Fair. You already have Amon-Ra, so that's my bad. But even if you can do that for Garrett Wilson, right? Even if that's Garrett Wilson instead, I'm completely fine with that as well. Because again, it's all about building the strongest possible starting lineup. But yeah, you're in a great spot, man. You're in a very, very good spot. Like I said, I would not buy what my league mates are telling me. Because if I had the 105, I'd be eyeing up Caleb Williams in this format. 100,000%. And I would be trying to put anyone off the path if I really cared about winning that league. But you're in a really good spot, man. I mean, there's a reason that you're ranked in 99 out of 100 and no other team is ranked inside the top, you know, 80 plus. He wants 2 firsts for Garrett Wilson. That's 2 firsts equivalent. T. Higgins in the 106. You're not getting T. Higgins for less than a first. So that is 2 firsts. But yeah, you're in a great spot, man. Your quarterbacks are going to be stacked. Your running backs are already in a decent spot. You've got 4 wide receivers that we love, 5 that I think could be superstars, and you've got the best tight end in Dynasty football. Now, you could look at upgrading at tight end, but I'm not, sorry, not upgrading, adding depth. Adding depth is what I meant to say there. But to be honest, I'd be doing that through like the waiver wire. You know, like what's a tight end that's just chilling on your waiver wire? Because I really don't think you need to spend draft capital now that you have Sam Laporta already. Is Brevin Jordan out there on your waiver wire? Is Luke Schoonmaker out there? Is Dulcich or Waller or Okonkwo? Is Kate Otten or Tucker Kraft or Schultz? Probably not Schultz. But which one of these guys are out there on the waiver wire? Pick them up. A Noah Fant, Juwan Johnson, a Bellinger. You know, another good one is Davis Allen from the Rams. I need to make a video about him. You don't really need to spend capital at this point getting a tight end too. And then Reetson says, did I give too much up on my trades? Let's have a look at that. Yeah, I forgot to look at those trades. Here we are. So you got CeeDee Lamb and Jonathan Taylor. Dude, see? This is what I'm saying. If y'all can't see, that's the 106. This is perfect. These are the exact deals you want to make. These are the exact deals that you want to go out and make. 100%. You get the 2 superstars. A lot of people's wide receiver 1 right now in CeeDee Lamb. Wide receiver 1 finish. And you got Jonathan Taylor. I love the CeeDee Lamb and the JT side of this deal. This is beautiful. In your format, with how small the starting lineups are, there's no way. I would pay more than this for CeeDee Lamb and Jonathan Taylor. Next trade was where you got the 107. You sent away Komet and a second and a fourth. There is no world in which Komet in a non-tight end premium format, even in a tight end premium format, is worth the 107. So yes, you absolutely robbed them again. And this one, you've got JSN, the 106, a 25 first, and a second for Hawkinson, Ayuk, and the 107. So you move up 1 spot. Let's cancel those out. I'd rather be in the 106, obviously. A 25 first for Ayuk. And then really Jackson Smith and Jigba and a second for Hawkinson. This one, I don't mind this one. I'm not going to say like it's a home run. But if Jason becomes a player that we want him to be, I like the deal. But I think Ayuk, just in my personal opinion, might have been able to given you a bigger return than a single first-round pick. But I guess you could say it's a first and Jason, and then you got Hawkinson for a second. So look, I'd say that's a pretty even deal. I've just seen Ayuk go for bigger at the moment. And then you sent away Pat Fryermuth for a second, which I'm fine with. In a non-tight end premium format, it would be very difficult for you to get more than a second for Pat Fryermuth at this point. So I think you did very, very good with these trades. In fact, this CeeDee Lamb, Jonathan Taylor trade is exactly what I've been saying that you should do. Cash in depth for superstars in your format. So, no, you killed it. You want to replicate this trade a couple more times if you can, and you'll be sitting pretty. You'll be sitting pretty real quick. But great team, man. You got a good amount of draft capital. Like I said, I wouldn't buy the notion that people aren't going to think ahead. People are smart. And if your league mates watch any content on Dynasty, if they, plan to prepare at all and watch other people or articles or whatever, then they're going to pretty quickly change their mind as the draft comes around. So I think you did great, Reedson. I mean, I would rate this team an A+ for sure. The JT and the CD trade puts you in serious contention this year. You've got 3 of my top 12 ranked wide receivers. You've got the tight end 1. You've got a top 5 running back, and you have 3 picks in the top 6. You're killing it. Let me know if you have any questions, though. I want to make sure and give you a little bit of time here, and let me know if you have any final questions before I move on to the next roster. But you are killing it. And, of course, the hotline is always available to you if you wanted to utilize it. But Hey, I'm sure there's people out there who are watching this and asking, wait, how can I get my team reviewed? It's very simple. All you need to do is become a Mother Flocker member on the Flock Fantasy website with the promo code LAND. You got to use the code LAND to get our perks. But once you have signed up to the Mother Flocker tier, go to your account at the top right, link your Discord up here. You'll see that. And then you should be able to access all of our premium Discord channels, including the roster submissions tab under the Fantasyland logos. Now, keep in mind, when you sign up, there's an option to skip the free trial. That's called instant access. Most people are preferring that way because otherwise you have to wait through the free trial to get your team eligible for review, if that makes sense. But we are going to move on to the next team. Mreedson says, I appreciate it. Thank you. We appreciate you, man. Thank you for the support. And the next team that we are going to look at today, I believe, is going to be Kieran. And this will be the last one for today. But let me make sure I go up and... and Mr. B says, by the way, just check tons of good players in the waivers in that league. So that's great. Pick up a tight end too. Don't use capital on it. You just don't need to, really. So Mr. B is telling you that Will Levis and Deshaun Watson are free agents in that league. If that's true, definitely go pick those guys up. There's no scenario that those guys should be free agents when you're becoming a SuperFlex league next year. You have a chance to dominate this league for a long time. You really do, based off of what I'm hearing. All right, the next team we're looking at is Kieran's team. I wonder, we don't have a... Kieran, do you have a sleeper ID? We really could use a sleeper ID for Kieran here. We can just look at the screenshot, but that's not going to be as beneficial for him. All right, you know what? That's going to be it. I don't want to do Kieran's without his sleeper ID. Unless he's in the stream with us. Kieran, are you in the stream with us? Let us know. Do me a favor, guys, though. Hit that like button to show some love. Such a simple way for you to help this channel grow. We are currently at 41 likes, which is awesome. I'd love to get to that 50 mark if possible. Just 9 likes away. But I'll answer a couple questions if you guys have them. I'll answer 5 questions to end the stream, unless we've got Kieran in the chat with us. All right. Mr. B, this is 1 out of 5. I said I'd answer 5 questions. I'm going to answer 5. Here we go. 1 out of 5. Mr. B says, in the meantime, I just traded Olave for McLaurin and the 108 in a 12-team Superflex. Best ball, I don't mind as much, for sure. I think it'll come down to who you get at the 108 there. But in a 12-team start 11, let's say that ends up being a Brian Thomas or Troy or Ladd if he goes in the first, then I don't mind that deal. But I do think I have seen Olave go for more. That's what I will say. I've seen Olave go for more value than that overall. Andrew says, this is question 2 out of 5. Godwin plus their own 25 first for Tyreek seems fair if they are an aging roster. I mean, that's fair. Tyreek is difficult to value because he is going to be one of the best players in fantasy until he calls it quits. He's just going to be, or until his body slows down. So if you get 3 more years of Tyreek as a top 5 wide receiver and you only got a 25 first in Godwin, you'll regret that deal. But of course, he's a name that's difficult to trade because of his age. So solid players, but guys like Evans, Kelsey, no real youth. So look, is it a bad deal? No, but again, you have to contextualize what you're getting, guaranteed production, versus what that 25 first could be. And Godwin, no disrespect to Godwin, I just don't think he's winning anyone leagues at any point again. Is that too harsh for me to say? Maybe. Mr. B says, I think I can get a Doomsday for 4th quarterback. Otherwise, it'll be Brian Thomas. Yeah, and that could work out. Joshua says, in your opinion, what's Justin Fields' dynasty trade value worth these days? I think what we have seen is around like the 107 territory is, if you have Justin Fields, you're in this position where do I want to wait it out and see what he could become on a new roster? I wouldn't be surprised. Let's say he gets traded to Atlanta tomorrow. He's going to be more valuable tomorrow than he is today. So you're kind of like in this reward world at the moment that's never ending until that trade happens. But I think the 107 territory is about where he's valued at the moment. Justin says, what can I do in a SuperFlex league? 2nd and 8th pick, but I need both quarterback and wide receiver. Take Marvin if he's there. Otherwise, take Caleb. And then at the 8th pick, you go best player available. We've said this a couple times, quite often on the channel, but it is the biggest mistake people make every year in rookie drafts is drafting based off of what they need. That's why a lot of people are regretting having Jackson Smith and Jigba over CJ Stroud last year, even though they didn't need a quarterback. They said, I need a wide receiver, so I'm going to take JSN over Stroud. No, Stroud was the 2nd overall pick. It's a super flex format, So you're going to get into a ton of trouble if you approach a rookie draft with need instead of just the best player available. You can always trade for need later with whatever assets you end up getting. Well, that's going to be it for today, guys. We appreciate you. Thanks for joining the show. Hit the like button. Again, if you want your team reviewed on our streams, it's very simple. All you need to do is become a Motherflocker member with the promo code LAND. That's all you got to do. Tomorrow night, we will be doing a rookie draft, and Badaki will be back with us. So make sure you are hanging out with us. Also, if you have yet to give us a follow over on Twitter, I'll send my link out there in the chat if you want to give us a follow. Sometimes I'll tweet out things for people to be involved in a video. If you have certain trades that you want to be involved in a video, or I'll kind of tweet out trades that I've personally made. So yeah, give us a follow over there on the old Twitter sphere if you like. But that is it. We appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your night. We'll see you soon. All love.